everyone! Well, we all have those art and story tropes that just makes your heart flutter, or the ones that make you want to throw your devices across the room. Today, I want to talk about art and storytelling tropes I'm obsessed with, and the ones that just makes me angry, I guess. Without further ado, let's get started. Our first dislike trope is enemies to lovers. Before you throw rocks at me, hear me out. This trope used to be my favorite, but due to overuse and lack of depth, it has lost its meaning. For me, if you're writing enemies to lovers, you should let it slow cook rather than rushing it. Rushing just makes no sense. Imagine someone killed your family but you forgive them the very next day. That is not love. Just because they are hot, it doesn't mean you can forgive them for one single good deed. And it has become so common now. Most of the movies include this trope as enemies to lovers. Yeah, sure, whatever. You can write this progression as going from hate to understanding, then to being non-enemies, then to friends, and finally, when they no longer hold a grudge against each other, you can build a love story after that. One of my favorite movies featuring this trope is Beauty and the Beast. It is still one of my favorite films to this day. When you're writing a story about two enemies, you shouldn't just force them together for no reason. You should build up the relationship. They should get to know each other as the story progresses, otherwise it sounds like all I ever want is the guy who slaughtered my entire family, friends, but he's often sexy and he apologized, so I forgive him. Yeah, don't do that. I actually like this trope, but only when it's done right. I'm also open to any recommendations. Next, a romance trope I love is Princess and Her Knight. God, I love this trope. This is one of my comfort tropes when it comes to romance. And no, I'm not talking about save me type of stories. For me, it's not about some big, strong man who slay dragons and kill monsters just to reach out his damsel in distress. What I love about this trope is ultimate safe haven dynamic. The knight is not just your protector, they are also your companion and your guide. A guardian upon whom you can lay your head with trust when you are tired. Rather than prince, I think knights work much better in a fantasy romance. Normally, I don't like stories where one character has to be protected just because they are naive, sweet, unable to do anything, and always in need for a big brain CEO type of man. That dynamic is really outdated. But with Knight, we can create a dynamic. That's why I like Cassandra and Rapunzel. Do not worry, I'll allow Adrian and Rapunzel too. I also made my own version of this trope with my OCs, but I made Knight as Dragon because why not again? Honestly, I don't have too much to say about this trope. I don't think it's big romance, but I'll never get tired of it. And the chosen one. Firstly, I don't think this trope is that bad. I think the real issue is the writing. Because what do you mean to make characters suddenly the savior out of nowhere? What makes them special? It's always something like, but the prophecy said so. Prophecies are nonsense. It could have been anybody. You just felt pity for them, didn't you? It's hard for the protagonist as well, unless they're some kind of stereotypical character, but whatever, they have to carry the burden of this power and the choice it may bring. I think Percy Jackson and Harry Potter worked to some extent because they had strong overarching plots, but that's just my perspective. Some people still think those tropes suck. Also, I don't like how they are capable of defeating every threat without any struggle. Imagine being in the middle of the fight and being so close to defeating the hero, but out of nowhere, they recall a random memory of their mentor, get a sudden power up, and beat you up. Damn, I would be a hater too. Why do people count that as plot armor? If you're writing this, would make sense. Characters' personality and world building are extremely important. God characters who need worshippers. Have you ever watched The Ritual? The movie is about four friends who go on a hiking trip to Sweden to mourn their deceased friend. But some accident happens, so they decide to take a shortcut from the forest, which leads them to Mother, one of the luckiest daughters Somehow they mention them as he in the movie. Well, I don't know. If you're wondering what this has to do with this trope, there are some spoilers. At the end of the movie, a character named Luke wants Mother's dead but alive worshippers to set them free, which angers Mother so much that she kills all her believers. Oh my god, that scene was incredibly creepy. But since she no longer has any followers, she confronts Luke to make him submit and pray to her. When he tries to get back up, Mother keeps pushing him back down just to force him to worship her. Now, that was the scene that really got me. Because when we write God characters, we always assume they are the strongest. But in reality, what is a God without believers? I love this writing because it shows how a godlike creature still needs worshippers to maintain their power. It also creates really interesting moral conflicts. Do gods really care? Do they need just them to gain power? On the other side, do people worship them out of fear, or do they expect something in return? I think this makes for a much more compelling story than writing a character with no real weaknesses. If it's well written, it makes the story so much fascinating. By the way, Mother is still one of my hear me out. I mean, look at her. Mere stews and pure stews. I hate this one. To me, the problem isn't that they are powerful or highly talented. It's how they are written. They are always that uniquely powerful and somehow beautiful character whom everyone in the universe instantly falls in love with. And that really pisses me off. You usually see them in fanfics. We don't ever see them struggle. They always have to be so perfect. It's just sad because it's also some of the laziest writing ever. I'm not even going to talk about this. But if your character can master ancient magic in just 1 week, yeah, we need to talk. Haunting the narrative. I love when unforgettable characters gone but actually release the story. Even if they're dead or long gone, their presence can still affect characters' decisions, their stories, and even their relationships. I also think it makes the story feel more alive and real. It reminds us that the things happened in the past can still haunt you to this day. People can change when this happens, and it truly shows us in their character development. My favorite show with this trope is Steven Universe, specifically with the character Rose Quartz. I am not going to give spoilers for those who haven't watched the show, but her character is highly complex, so I highly recommend watching it if you haven't already. So back to the point, I think this trope still has flaws despite being relevant to the plot. It can also be frustrating at times. Take Given for example. They didn't really handle it well. If you can just use this trope to fill holes on your story, well, I can guarantee it will make for a good show. And next we have Adorkable Characters. Oh boy, where do I even begin? I think it became popular with Disney, where every main character is dorky, bubbly, and constantly toxic positive. It feels like the writers are just screaming at me the entire time. Look, aren't they cute? No, they are not. They're just stupid. All of them look the same and act the same. It worked with Rapunzel and Anna because they were isolated from the world for their entire lives. There's a clear line between being nervous and being stupid. It's not relatable, it's exhausting. Of course, I'm not saying can't have silly characters, but it has to fit their personality too, rather than being just a trope because otherwise it feels forced. Rather than being natural. A quirky personality shouldn't just be about following in random habits, awkward moments, and exaggerated expressions just to convince the audience that they are cute. Also, sometimes their characters' flaws never actually matter. They make reckless decisions, create unnecessary problems, or completely ignore common sense. And since the story bends around them, they never face any real consequences too. As I said, having adorable characters doesn't automatically make your story bad, but when you overuse it, yeah, it loses its charm. Redemption arcs. Okay, this one is more personal. I love this one because it genuinely shows that the people can change, but only if they're willing to face the consequences of what they have done. And what feels so good is when their redemption actually feels satisfying. But yeah, say it with me again, only if it's well written. If I have to give an example, it will be Zuko from Avatar The Last Airbender. His redemption arc was incredibly well written and well deserved. I also like it when even after redemption arc occurs, other characters don't have to forgive them because redemption isn't about earning someone's approval, it's about becoming a better person for yourself. And I think that one is the most powerful kind of stories you can write. Phew, and that is all I can talk about. There are still too many tropes I haven't mentioned, but I think this is enough for one video. As I said many times, this is all just my opinion. A trope itself doesn't make your story good or bad. What matters is how it's written. Even my least favorite tropes can be fun to watch when it's executed well. Also, English is not my first language, so please excuse any grammar or pronunciation mistakes. This is my first video using my actual voice, so please bear with me for now. I'd also love to know what your favorite and least favorite tropes are. So let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.